It's yeah. Well, to some extent, certain elements can be replicated, can be assembled by the void because but not all elements now extend mandate, and actually our perspectives for a huge we're still getting there, yes.
I'm former chief of the
National
Commission.
Summit hopefully we're getting there. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. Stay in touch. Should you wish to discuss this in this project, let us know. We can
start with your short speech to the greeting, Dana's short speech to the greeting, then we'll ask the members of parliament to explain their position then, and business not on the ombudsman. And then I guess there will be discussion with the people.
Okay. Shall I stay here or come over there?
No.
I can stay.
Доброго дня.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. We thank our speakers for coming. So, we call this day the Day of Consumers' Rights, not in a Soviet sense, when people were waiting when someone else comes and defend them. So, we shouldn't believe that someone else is going to defend us. We should defend ourselves. We should negotiate and form new ways how to defend consumers' rights. There are many ideas how to do this. We can use European experience, the experience of energy ombudsman, and we are going to have this discussion. And today we are glad to present the research prepared by experts with the help of Friedrich Naumann Foundation, and we want to change the attitude of people towards defending the rights of consumers. And Kosmel is head of the project of Naumann in Ukraine and Belarus, and we would like to welcome participants and to propose the overall framework of discussion. And then Svitlana Golikova is going to speak. Thank you.
Speak in English. My Ukrainian is very basic, unfortunately. I apologize for that. So my name is Miriam Kosmel. I head the Ukraine office of the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom here in Ukraine. And it is a great pleasure for me to open this conference on consumers' rights and the rights of small businesses vis-à-vis communal and energy services. Access to electricity of small businesses has repeatedly caused quite a stir and ruffled many feathers over the past few months in Ukraine's media and politics. As Ukraine's businessman Shemeta has stated, most of the complaints he gets regarding abuse of monopolies are connected with Oblenergos, regional power companies. Complaints also involve major state-owned enterprises such as water supply companies. A lack of a system for monitoring and quality control of provider services in the sectors, gas, heat, water supply, makes it very difficult to assess the quality of the services. Moreover, increased tariffs, very justified from an economic perspective, in the absence of trust in the state, create social tension and lead to rising non-payments. Last but not least, a low level of energy literacy amidst persistent economic disparities is a fertile ground for simplifications and nostalgia in political debates. These are all several reasons why FNF decided to support what we consider as an excellent initiative by the Kiev Energy Research Institute to foster a debate on what we believe are very important questions. To which extent are the rights of small businesses and household consumers protected within the current system? Do consumers want to be protected? And what are they willing to pay for it? Could an energy ombuds institution increase transparency? How do energy ombuds institutions function elsewhere? We have international guests who can report on other aspects that are applicable in other countries. Are other models applicable in Ukraine, or will Ukraine need to come up with its very own particular solution? Learn from others, but do not forget that which is your own. recommended Taras Shevchenko to his fellow citizens. At present in Ukraine, many reforms are taking place in parallel, amongst which reforms of the judiciary and the law enforcement. And obviously they do take time. This is why, in our view, it is worth to explore whether quicker fixes are an option that would offer effective protection, above all for those unable to hire a lawyer or to find costly means to defend themselves. This is why we welcome very much that today experts with different experiences and expertise come together for an open discussion of an analysis which the KERI researchers have undertaken to research, to address the named challenges. The idea behind today's event is to connect many players in the field and to bundle the forces and the energy of all those people committed to reforms. It is with great interest that I look forward, therefore, to that conference. I am unfortunately not able to stay the whole day because we have in parallel another event going on where I need to go to on competition policy and SME development. But our project coordinator, Volodymyr Ulinik, will be with you all day. So in case there should be additional questions towards the foundation, please address them to him. And now I shall be looking forward to a good start of the conference. Thank you for your attention.
Дуже дякую. І я прошу би також...
So, I would like Svitlana Golikova to take the floor. We are speaking not about the problems, but also the decisions and the framework for this decision that is provided in this research, and you have the materials so you can study them. Thank you very much for coming here today, and I thank those who created this opportunity, and we thank the foundation and our organization, because the issue of defending the rights of consumers by different means, we mean the legal and the regulatory. This is one of the ways to solve the issue how to react today. How should household consumers react on the situation, because prices are on the rise and the service that is provided by the companies that are monopolies. So we do not want to speak about political things, and we do not want to find here political decision, but we believe that here there are politicians who support the idea of protecting the rights of consumers, and that they will implement this in their policy to protect the rights of consumers. And the study that we created, it's not full. We're limited in time, but we made the first step, and we started this work 2 years ago when the first article appeared in press about energy ombudsman and the institute like this as the new for Europe. And today we have several good examples how it works. And lastly, I would like to say that the issue of energy ombudsman, and when we say energy, we unite here gas, water supply, communal services, heating. So this is not some new institute. It's an institute, an institution that can help regulator. It doesn't replace it, and can promote good image of regulatory commission. So I wish everyone to have fruitful discussion, and we thank those who came here and who is going to support these ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Svitlana. And now the floor is given to the people deputies, and today we invited the representatives of different power structures, and we have executive power and ombudsman. Then we invite international experts and NGOs to discuss properly all the risks and opportunities that are created. And I would like to show several figures that show the need And this is the structure of requests. This is the hotline requests. Thousands of people call to the center and they stated the problems, and the communal facilities is more than 13%, and social protection was also of importance. So people feel that they need help. So this is the study delivered by our colleagues, TNS Ukraine, and 78% do not understand why the tariffs are so high. So this is what was stated by Miriam. And we understand this problem economically, but people feel that this rise in tariffs, that this is corruption, not economic component. And in this situation, we should communicate to people why it is done and what to expect. So please, we are giving the floor to our colleagues. Thank you very much. I would like to add to those communal issues that you have shown that these are 13%. These social issues, they are connected basically with those high tariffs and mistrust to the current price. So this is more than 13% of complaints and requests of people as concerning our sector. We are going back to the issue why it is so. Why there are so many requests and complaints. I believe that Ms. Miriam said that there is such a word, nostalgia. And this is not only nostalgia about cheap prices, but also the procedures that were before, because people understood these procedures. And I saw Mr. Kitenka, former head of regulator, and people trusted this institution, and people understood that there are professionals in energy sector, and they do everything correctly, and they believe that the sector will work according to the rules, adhering to the rules. And what we have now and what we see in the last 2 years, firstly, there was a rise in tariff for population, and there were some explanations about this. And the meeting of the regulator, and they discussed during the meeting how to increase these tariffs for population, and they were motivated that there were some proper steps how to communicate decisions, and in this way you can find trust of people. But what happened next? When the tariffs were raised, I asked, and where will this money go? And they said this money will go for modernization, to make the work more efficiency. And they didn't say that they want to reduce the tariffs for enterprises, for industry. They wanted to use this money for good purposes. And what happened in a year? Then they took the decision to increase the tariffs for industries because they wanted to collect more funds from the market. And then Rotterdam Plus formula appear, and also they wanted to increase the tariffs for the industries, and everyone forgets about the issue of cross subsidies. So if we want to balance the market, we shouldn't move these tariffs for the industry, and that would be people would understand this. But we see corruption in the market, we see the gaps in the approach, and we see different reports from Commission that have to work in current conditions for the purposes of the market and for the consumers, not only household consumers, because we have different consumers, and we have different professional approaches to this market. What we need to do? Firstly, our goal as legal body, we should improve legislation concerning regulator. there was no law on the regulator. It was created by the decree of the president, and there was a reference to the law on natural monopolies. And unfortunately, there are no ideal laws, and the law is not a panacea. And I don't believe that if the body is more professional, that is created in accordance with the law, I don't believe that it will perform the functions as we believe it should. So we should take away the functions from the regulator and to create conditions for the function of the market as it is. So we should create the market, because when we are speaking about natural monopolies, no one believes that there can be a market, but all the world deals with it. And we remember that many years ago, 20 years ago, we had some gas stations and there was gasoline written. So there were no brands, no different prices. So the task was just to get this gasoline at some station where there is gasoline. So there was a single price, common price, and you shouldn't search for better. And then the competition appeared, and different prices for gasoline were established. Then the brands appeared and additional services were introduced. When you come to the gas station and you can get the services and goods, and this created the market. And now people understand that this is a market situation and the prices are created by market. The same should be in each market, especially in the gas market, communal services market. There the situation is more difficult, but it should be there. And also electricity market. And we create now the law. This is the law of the Cabinet of Ministers that is at the platform of the Supreme Council, and we work on this to introduce this market. And when the price for the for electricity is created by market depending on supply and demand, then the production of electricity is potentially higher than its consumption. The specificity of the market is that everything that is produced should be consumed. But there are many mechanisms that can solve this issue, and we know the examples from different countries, for example, from Poland, when the introduction of the electricity market provided the decrease of tariffs for the consumers. So I envisage that this will be the case in Ukraine as well. But unfortunately, and I repeat myself, there is no ideal law, and any ideal law can be implemented in the way that is not correct. So we should write out all provisions in the law, and the regulator will have some functions. It will regulate the activity of natural monopolies, and natural monopolies will be there will be transmission, distribution of electricity, and also the establishment and formation of the price for the services, and the household and small businesses will use this. And our work can be nullified by not correct use of the regulator, and this requires alternative platforms to appeal to ground these decisions. And this institution of energy ombudsman, we believe that it should be there. And what we do as in the electricity market in order to decrease negative attitude of this market by people. So the majority complaints is to Obelenерgo, and this is the issues of connecting to the networks. When you want to connect, you should have many documents. There are many requirements you should meet, and it is too costly. And as of today, there are positive steps made by Obolenergo. They introduced the term standard connection, and this is a simplified procedure. And if there is no corruption, and in standard corruption there are not, so the procedure is simple. You address and then you pay for this connection, and I verified this. It works really well. So we want this practice of standard connection that is for up to 50 kilowatt. If someone wants to build a plant or a factory or any other facility, so they should be able to connect. And the simplification is envisaged by amendments I provided, so they can apply for connection and establish the capacity needed, and and he pays first for the capacity you want to get access to, and multiplied by cost, and then the cost of the last mile up to the point of connection, and you pay for this. And in the standard connection there is one bill, so 300 meters, the distance from the nearest point of connection.
So we want to simplify the procedure to the maximum, so that the negative perception, including in the world of Ukraine as a country which have one of the most complicated systems of connection, we would like to have better image in the world and to go up in the doing business rating. We are on the 136th place now in this rating. We want to be higher. Any law can be damaged by our own implementation. So if we have alternative sources of claims, when consumers via ombudsman institution can submit their claims, this would be a good thing. Now, Oleksiy Ryabchyn, Tymoshenko's faction, I would like you to answer the question how to unite consumers in Ukraine, how consumers can get more assistance. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, audience. I see many familiar people here who are good experts, and I am a head of the Committee for Fuel and Energy in the Parliament, where I here represented as experts, but not as the members of the coalition, Parliamentary coalition. Many of our colleagues and me, we protect people from ungrounded tariffs which were set by the coalition. Batькivщина party thinks that the transition from one formula of tariff setting to the other was made in their own manner. Monopolists were forced to shift to the other model. We think it was non-professional approach, and the research demonstrates that people do not understand why this transition is needed, and people feel unprotected. And a matter of energy ombudsman, we lobbied it and we wanted to be included into the law. And me personally, in my speech, I'm interested in this issue, and I have been paying much attention to this matter for 3 months here. My assistants among the audience, and they helped me to develop draft law. We will try to submit it. We will try to draft it faster because the matter of consumer protection is urgent and it should be fast addressed. So in the third energy package of acquis communautaire, Ukraine had the possibility to create the Institute of Energy Ombudsman. This is not our responsibility, this is our possibility, opportunity. The Institute of Energy Ombudsman, as Ms. Svitlana said, it is a novel institution in such mass perception, but this is sustainable practice in Europe and in Australia. There are certain models how energy ombudsman institutions work as autonomous structures. They work in France, UK. There are schemes where energy ombudsman work not only in energy sector, but they also addressed wider issues such as air transportation, for example, in the Netherlands and Sweden, and there are institutions working in the scope of national regulators like in Austria, Poland, and the association National Energy Ombudsman Network has been created, and I know that they will join us by Skype connection today. There are several models, and we should either adapt one of the existing models and select one of them, or to correct some of the existing models in order to meet the challenges which Ukraine faces. In the whole world, the energy ombudsman matter is more than mediation issue or just, it's not just dispute settlement. It should analyze and provide proposals to national regulator, ministries, agencies, the proposals when a person or institution communicate to people, and when there are many claims, this means that the matter should be addressed very fast because it has not been resolved. When we have such
у столі навіть кажуть про захоплення майже всіх регуляторів, що кожна політична сила, яка приходить до влади, вона ставить своїх людей на регулятор для того, щоб регулювати у відповідності до своїх політичних переваг або економічних міркувань певних людей, які представляють цю політичну силу. І коли ми розглядали питання по омбудсмену і думали, якими функціями він повинен бути, які функції він повинен мати, я більш поки що склонен думати, що це людина, це орган, інституція, яка повинна бути у складі НКРІ АКП. І навіть я подавав правки, щоб у цієї людини було навіть право такого вето на рішення НКРІ АКП. Наприклад, якщо людина бачить, що є підстави, є якась там Роттердам плюс, які просто жодної логіки немає, або підвищення тарифів, які не обґрунтовані і немає жодних документів. Ця людина може зробити там якось вето на рішення НКРІ АКП, яке може бути подолано там певним чином голосів, або просто такі політичні речі, які у наших
such political issues, they should help to protect consumers, and according to the practice of the national regulator, large and mid-size companies are protected, and small businesses and just general consumers, they are not. So we took the largest energy facilities, and for the matter of balance, We looked into Kyivenergo company during 2015, 742,000 oral claims and 20,900 written claims have been submitted to Kyivenergo. This means 750,000 and 20,000 plus 20,000 written claims. So energy ombudsman, which in the whole world use electronic means of communication, in Ukraine it should have some specifics, because people who submit their claim, they use internet not so often. If we look into Kyiv Oblenergo, they received 2,700 claims, and many people submit claims which are quite hardly be understood. They have 800 claims in Vinnytsia, only 476 electronic or written claims. So people on their own submit claims to Vinnytsia Oblenergo. In Prikarpattia Oblenergo, they have only 400 electronic claims out of 7,000. The Detec Energo, they addressed 449 claims. What would you say to those consumers, to the population, as the people's deputy? As a people's deputy, I should say that the rules of the game should be set. I think that at this roundtable discussion we will hear best practices when we communicate to experts. We can understand both best practices and negative cases. For us to leapfrog these negative cases, my task as a person who drafts the law, and for Batyrkivshchina faction, this is a matter of principle to draft this law. We should draft the law in such a way that it starts working from the very beginning, as soon as it is adopted. This is not political sin. When I talk to our government, it is also the matter of principle for them. So energy ombudsman, it's a nationwide issue. So we should not just adopt the law, we should make it working. Thank you very much. This is a very good question to Deputy Ombudsman, who can use his experience answering the question. What is easier to do, to find systemic problems or to protect specific people, specific individuals and specific organizations? And we mentioned that we should talk to the coalition, because this is our pain. It is very hard to gather people from different factions and different institutions, so we should talk with some balanced tone. The matter is, if you hold professional discussion and we have different political faction representatives, we always have professional discussions. So the matter of organizing this discussion, whether people can talk in professional language, this is the question. Well, thank you. for invitation to come here, and I'm glad to be a panelist along with all esteemed panelists here from 1.5 year of business ombudsman functioning in Ukraine, and would like to talk about principal factors which influenced why this institution was created. So when the decision on feasibility to launch energy ombudsman, these factors also can be taken into consideration. Our business ombudsman institution is an independent body, and it works on principles on confidentiality, impartiality, and new ombudsman institution, energy ombudsman, on the level of founders of its legal status, funding, the new institution should be efficient. If these issues are well thought from the very beginning, then the newly established institution will be a success. I will provide you an example from the Council of Business Ombudsmen. Political will is important. In 2014, when the government of Ukraine, EBRD, OECD, and 5 business associations signed a memorandum on Ukrainian initiative, traditional mechanisms such as courts, they are not trusted in as the institution for dispute settlement. So ombudsman was an alternative institution for dispute settlement. It's soft power. Who founded this organization and how professional people work here? Positive decision was taken after that. Every participant in the process, every stakeholder started implementing the idea as far as possible. The cabinet issued the resolution launching the Council of Ombudsman, Deputy Ombudsman, and Business Ombudsman were appointed by the resolution of the Cabinet. This provided us powers and provided us significance. Our importance was fixed in the legislation. This was important for us. EBRD, on their hand, they accumulated resources. 11 countries they pay contributions to London, and this provides sustainable funding for this institution. Funding is one of the important factors, especially in Ukraine, which allows to be impartial and independent to our institution. We have good salaries, and this provides us the opportunity to hire experts of high professional level, and that is why extrapolating these fundamental principles on launching energy ombudsman institution. First, mandate should be clearly outlined. I think you don't have problem with this. Claims of all those who fall under the category of consumers in this energy sector, not only energy sector, all aspects of relations with natural monopolies. In our case, this is far broader mandate. They are claims of all enterprises, all economic operators, for any unfair behavior of companies, state enterprises, governmental institutions, state organizations. The other aspect is funding. If it is properly provided, if it is sustainable, it would provide the institution the opportunity to work at the high level high professional level, and it would provide signal to the market that there is such institution where they can submit their requests and claims. And I would like to say also, in our observations, the energy ombudsman institutions are quite well disseminated in many countries in Anglo-Saxon jurisdictions. So countries well developed, which have higher budget, they can allow themselves to have energy ombudsman institution. On the other hand, this could not be just a dogma when funding. If this issue can be resolved, and even if this energy ombudsman institution launching will be a novel on the CIS space, why not? Why not to innovate? The mechanism of ombudsman is very very well disseminated in the world to address controversial cases. First, I met my first ombudsman when I was in Canada, when I was in the students' camp. So in this campus, we had ombudsman for addressing controversial issues, and there are ombudsmen for separate spheres of life in many countries. So this is a traditional institution. It is hypothetically present in every country. As a consumer, when we have mechanism which replaced the Committee for Consumer Protection, this mechanism which we have today doesn't work properly. So in our country, many mechanisms are in latent condition. If some institution which is trusted and it is launched in Ukraine, for example, for consumer protection sphere improvement, so a priori, we can't criticize the idea of launching such a new novel mechanism. Finally, I would like to use this chance and in general, talking about institutional capacity, status is very important, and as concerns Council of Business Ombudsman, we are a consultative body at the Cabinet of Ministers. Oleksiy and Leo maybe know that the first reading on business ombudsman, they voted for it. So when Profile Committee has already approved the law, the Committee on Entrepreneurship, we should be optimistic as the management when we hope that next session week will have second reading and voting for our law, and we hope that you will support us because you understand that it is very important to complete formalization of the status of business ombudsman. Thank you. Yeah, I know that you should go. We have just 8 minutes left. Miss Svitlana, so maybe we will start the round of questions and answers. Well, just 1 or 2 questions. And then a break, coffee break, then we will have coffee break. national regulator, Irina Anatolievna, I am an expert in protection of consumer rights. This is my job duties. I understand that an energy ombudsman is a need and cooperate with the national regulator. This is important. I have a question. What question should ombudsman address? Tariffs and what else? What should be within his or her competence? What do you think? How many employees this ombudsman should have for conducting its functions well, and what should be his professional qualification level? Well, opportunities for his work, and I think that European cases would be best examples for you. I've just talked to my colleague from Germany, and he told me that during 1 year they have 7,000 claims, and the employees are 6 to 7 persons, and this is enough. The best arbitrator is court, but you know how our court system works, so how we can protect consumers when we lack justice system of courts. So ombudsman institution may be one of the tools as concerns questions. What matters will be within the competence. For example, connection to networks, refusal to provide connection, refusal of applications for connection, and when energy suppliers do not provide high quality services, complaints about understanded quality, this should be also within the competence of energy ombudsman. Thank you. We are given the answers. Come to our committee meetings. We have open meetings and we invite you. Just come to our meetings and you will get all answers to all your questions. When we talked about the national regulator, your management said that your department is underfunded and you do not have enough employees to process all the claims, and very often when we communicated to people who send claims to your department, they just receive some letters without real answers to their complaints. So people address us as deputies, as people deputies. So energy ombudsman, all these matters will be in the scope of its competence. I'm very sorry, I should go to the meeting now. Thank you for coming. Just 1 minute for your additions. Now we have a coffee break because the Ministry of Defense will now deliver the briefing. I would like to tell what I forgot to tell you. In these files which we disseminated among the audience, you have here questionnaire. Please fill in the questionnaires and hand them out to us. Just 1 minute. I would like to say that we have 22 employees, 10 inspectors, and from the beginning of last May we received 1,390 complaints. We have very different topics of claims, but we managed to cope with this amount. So when we talk about Germany, they have rather more flat work because they have similar topics of claims, similar topics of complaints, and we have different topics. Thank you for your experience, and now coffee break, and in 20 minutes we will continue our working day.
Кава брейк, потім ми з презентації українського. Це, власне, те, що ми дослідження.